Kendra, that girl who chronicled the stalking of her psychiatrist on TikTok, she made like a few dozen story times about how her psychiatrist was being unethical, but it didn't take very many installments of her story times for followers to gather that Kendra, you were stalking him, girl. Oh, and then there was this girl who went super viral for chronicling her husband cheating on her. There seems to be an epidemic these days of people willing to share very intimate details of their lives in the hopes that they go viral. You know, people usually say don't take what influencers post too seriously because all you see is the highlight reel of their life. What is the opposite of a highlight reel? What if what you go viral for is for airing your own dirty laundry? And what if going viral ends up costing you your life? That is what happened to one influencer when she participated in a pretty popular TikTok trend. This is a story that is so dark and so tragic. It really highlights the terrifying intersection of DV, social media, and a justice system that sadly didn't get the opportunity to keep up. We have a lot to talk about. Let's get into today's video. Let's go. Wake up. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. This horrifying story started on July 11th when an Oklahoma influencer named Sara Gilson joined in on a popular TikTok trend. You have probably seen the format. People film themselves like they're being interviewed for some future Netflix documentary. It's usually to tell a funny anecdote about their life. But Sarah's post was very different. There was no punchline. Instead, the text overlay was a shocking admission. It read, "Preparing for when Netflix drops a documentary about my soon-to-be ex-husband, who I just found out is a..." And in the caption, she wrote 4 words, "I wish I was joking." That video exploded. As of filming this video, it has over 29 million views. For her followers who knew her best for fashion and family posts, this was a stunning departure from her usual content. And even more shocking, her soon-to-be ex-husband was an influencer as well. Just 12 days after posting that TikTok, Sara Gilson would be dead. To her online community, Sara was this vibrant 43-year-old creative who was building a life for herself and her 2 kids in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. She was a talented hairstylist, and anyone who knew her said she was just full of kindness and warmth. The tributes that have come out after she died all paint a picture of a woman who could brighten any room she walked into. But like a lot of people now, her life was not just local. Online, she was a budding influencer. She went under the handle Mrs. Gilson. She sold clothes and jewelry, but she also shared glimpses of her life, the ups and downs of being a mom, moments with her friends. Her content was super relatable. One of her last posts was about how female friendships literally save your life. And in her very last TikTok post that seems so much darker now, she wrote, "May whatever the fuck that was never find me again." This was a real woman just trying to navigate life's complexities, just like all of us. And at the center of her world were her 2 children. A GoFundMe page has been set up for them, and that page calls Sara an incredible mom. This is the image her friends and family want the world to remember. And it's this image that makes the grim reality of what was happening behind the scenes all the more tragic. Because behind the curated post and the warm smile, a storm was brewing. Her marriage to 48-year-old Jeremiah Shawn Duffy was falling apart. And that collapse was about to spiral into unimaginable violence. The awful events that just took place this past July didn't come out of nowhere. As far back as 2021, Sara had reportedly filed for 2 separate protective orders against her husband, who actually went by Shawn Duffy. Those orders did end up getting dismissed, reportedly because Sara didn't show up for the hearings. We can't really speculate on why she didn't appear, but that early attempt to use the legal system really speaks volumes. It shows the fear was there long before this final conversation. confrontation. Experts always say that leaving a relationship that has elements of DV is the most dangerous time for a victim, and Sara's story seems to follow the tragic pattern. Shawn Duffy, who went by Duff Daddy on TikTok, Barf, had his own public persona in their community. He was a youth basketball coach, and that was a role that put him in a position of power and trust. On June 9th of this year, a 15-year-old girl who played on one of Duffy's travel teams along with her mother went to the Owasso police. They alleged that Duffy had inappropriately touched the girl, and this report gained immediate credibility because, according to police statements, another coach on the team actually witnessed the incident, intervened, and reported it to the girl's parents. This wasn't just a one-time thing either. Police later said that there were reports of similar conduct, which occurred over an extended period of time in multiple law enforcement jurisdictions across multiple states. That's just a horrifying allegation. This girl's mother also claimed that Duffy had sent her daughter inappropriate messages, invited her to his hotel room, and even offered her money to stay quiet. Police told Sara about these allegations on June 10th, and for her, this seems to have been the final straw. This wasn't just about a marriage anymore. It involved these deeply disturbing criminal allegations from a child. Court records cited by news outlets state that when she confronted him, Duffy threatened to unalive himself and then just fled, essentially going on the run. Faced with this terrifying reality, Sara Gilson took immediate legal action. That same day, police told her about the investigation, she went to court and got an emergency protective order. This order legally required Shawn to stay away from her, to vacate their home, and to keep a distance of at least 100 yards. The filing for that order contained some frightening details. Sara alleged that Duffy had a gun and had threatened self-harm after she confronted him. The combination of a firearm, threats of self-harm, and a volatile domestic situation, that's a huge red flag for law enforcement and a massive indicator of high risk for lethal violence. Up until this point, the legal system seemed to be working. The emergency order was a temporary shield, and later that month, it was extended to August 24th. But a protective order is only as strong as its enforcement. At this point, Shawn Duffy was a fugitive. He was facing serious accusations. He was barred from his home, and according to Sara herself, he was potentially armed and unstable. And this is the volatile context in which Sara made her next move. With the legal system moving, but her husband still out there somewhere, she turned to the court of public opinion. She was about to make her private nightmare a very public story. On July 11th, Sara logged onto TikTok and used that Netflix documentary trend to deliver a message that was anything but a joke. In the video, she's sitting there looking into the camera like someone giving a somber interview. The text is chillingly direct, preparing for when Netflix drops a documentary about my soon-to-be ex-husband, who I just found out is a The video exploded, amassing millions upon millions of views. In an instant, the allegations against Shawn Duffy were no longer just in police reports or court dockets. They were out there for the entire interwebs to see. I think for Sara, this was an act of defiant self-preservation. She was taking control of the narrative, refusing to be a silent victim. It's a strategy a lot of victims use. You know what they say, sunlight is the best disinfectant, so bring the darkness into the light, hoping that your mistreater is less likely to act when the whole world is watching. In other posts, she was documenting her escape. She was talking about her female friendships, and she was vowing that the darkness she'd been through would never find her again. The night of Thursday, July 23rd, was when all the legal precautions and digital warnings tragically failed. Around 11:15 p.m., a 911 dispatcher in Owasso got a frantic call from a child inside Sara's home. According to reports on the audio, you could hear pure terror. In the background, a woman was screaming and crying. As dispatchers were relaying information to officers, they noted the context. The address was connected to a man that they'd been looking for, the same man who had been caught kissing a juvenile. They mentioned a gun. Then the dispatcher reported hearing some sort of loud bang in the background. A possible gunshot. Police were on the scene in just 3 minutes. I mean, I don't think they could have really gotten there faster, but they were already too late. Inside, they found Sara and her estranged husband, Shawn, both dead from gunshot wounds. The preliminary investigation pieced together what seems to be a clear sequence of events. They concluded that Shawn, in direct violation of that protective order, had forced his way into Sara's home. He shot and killed her before turning the gun on himself. The child who made that 911 call was found physically unharmed, but they had witnessed an unspeakable trauma. The protective order that was supposed to keep Shawn 100 yards away had been breached. The public spotlight from that TikTok hadn't deterred him. The system that was supposed to protect Sara and the digital outcry she had engineered were both powerless to stop a man driven by rage. In the aftermath, Sara's social media pages have become digital memorials. Her final video, her warning, was flooded with thousands of comments of grief, anger, and disbelief. Like I said earlier in this video, a GoFundMe was set up for her 2 children, and it's raised tens of thousands of dollars. The organizer of that GoFundMe said her sudden and heartbreaking loss has left an entire community grieving, but the greatest loss is felt by her 2 precious children. I will link the GoFundMe in the description of this video. This case has also ignited a fierce conversation about DV. It raises the painful question. If a woman who did everything right, I mean, she went to the police, she got a protective order, she even used her own platform to sound the alarm, could still end up dead, then what hope is there for the rest of us? It's a devastating question that highlights the limits of a legal document in the face of a determined perpetrator. I think the story of Sara Gilson is a heartbreaking reminder of the dark realities that can hide behind a curated online presence. She took legal precautions, she sought help, and she used her voice to expose the darkness she was facing. And in the end, it still wasn't enough. I'm very interested to hear what you guys think of this case. What can be done to better protect victims in similar situations? I'll also be sharing the information for the National Domestic Violence Hotline in the description of this video. Please reach out if you or someone you know is in a dangerous situation. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Check out our podcast, Mostly Harmless, and our website, level42studios.com. Links for all of that will be in the description of this video. You can follow me on Instagram, Threads, X, and TikTok at Reality Squad, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a good one. Much love.